I just finished a trading challenge where I started with 0 Robux and made it all the way up to 5,000. And today I'm going to show you guys every single strategy I used in that challenge. This is the only trading guide you will ever need on Roblox. The first thing you need to do is buy a limited item. Go to this website and you'll be able to find a bunch of different deals on all kinds of limited items on Roblox. And now all you have to do is just look for the best deal you could possibly find that you can afford. You might have to wait a little bit for somebody to post a new item, but you will never find a better deal than doing this. I recommend buying one item instead of multiple. That will help you a lot later on. Once you get your first item, do not go to Trade Hangout. There's a much better method when you first start trading. Look at the current value of your item and use the Rollymon's item catalog to find items that are just barely above it in value. For me, I personally shoot for items that are worth 40 to 60 Robux more than my item. If you have the fiery egg of egg testing, which is currently worth 516 Robux, you should look for items that are worth between 550 to 575 Robux. And then out of these items, I like to pick the ones with the most premium copies because they have the most owners that could potentially accept. And I will literally just go ahead and mass send out trades for these items. You could send up to 100 trades a day, so make sure that you are hitting your trade limit every single day. This method could literally just carry you to a ton of Robux, but if you want to earn even more, I recommend you guys check the selling prices of the items that you're sending for. You want to make sure that the selling price is above the recent average price. That means when it sells, the value will raise. The higher it is above the recent average price, the more this item is going to raise over time. So I don't recommend you guys send for any items that are selling below the value. Remember, every time you make a trade, you have to hold an item for 2 days. So you want to make sure that your item is going to go up and do well during that 2-day hold where you can't do anything with it. I recommend you guys turn your trade value filter to high. That way, when you get trades sent to you and you get trades countered, they will be at least halfway decent. This only applies when you're trading with wrap items. This might make no sense, but after you get your first item, I don't recommend you buy any more limited items again, unless you find them for some extremely good deals. I think waiting 7 days is literally insane, and that'll slow down your trading so much. Instead, I recommend you use your Robux in trades because a lot of people will actually overpay for Robux because they just don't care about their limited items. So look for people in Trade Hangout or look for people selling items and send them Robux in the trade, and you actually might be able to get a pretty good win off of them. And that's actually a rule I follow even on my main account. I don't ever buy limited items unless I find them for really good deals because it's just not worth waiting for. Since you are mass sending so many trades out, the odds of 2 people accepting your trade are actually pretty high. So always go back in your inactive trades and see if you have any that have rejected due to error. I always like to resend to these people later on because they already accepted my trade once. The odds of them accepting again are very high. This was literally the best method that I had throughout my entire Nothing to Something challenge. It got me my best trades ever. Trades where I literally won insane amounts that would actually be hard to believe. I just kept resending to these people where the trades got rejected, or even people who completed my trades. They've already given me wins in the past, and they're more likely to give me a second win than it is to find a brand new person that would never accept. When I'm sending out trades, I actually look at the person's inventory, and if they have too much value, honestly, I just don't send to them. People with a lot of value are more likely to reject your trade because obviously they know that it's a bad trade for them. And honestly, most people with a lot are not going to be generous to you. So instead of trying to get free handouts from rich people, instead you should just try to send to people who have less value because they're more likely to accept because they like the item that you're sending or for whatever reason. I honestly just try to avoid anybody that has some pretty expensive items. I also try to avoid people who have a lot of items. If you see somebody's inventory and they have like 30, 40, 50 pages, I usually just skip them because all they do is trade small items and they're definitely not going to be willing to take an L on any small items. And plus, it's also usually just a waste of time. If their inventory is so big, trying to find one item out of it really just isn't worth your time. Choosing which people you send to might take more time, but in the long run, you're gonna end up saving time because if you choose the right people, they're gonna be more likely to accept, and gaining value is gonna happen much more quickly. If you wanna be extra careful, I recommend you keep up with the trades that you've sent outbound, especially with small items, because the value of them can change so quickly. An item can sell just a few times and it could crash in value. So make sure you don't have any trades outbound for items that have recently crashed. And if you do, just make sure you go through and decline all those trades so nobody can actually accept them and you won't lose a ton of value. Speaking of items crashing, unfortunately that's something that you can't predict. And at any time, one of your items could literally sell for 1 Robux and your value could just plummet. If that happens to one of your items, honestly, I probably recommend just holding it for a little bit. It's more likely that that item is gonna go back up to where it used to be, then you'll be able to make up that profit. So if you have one of those items, just wait a little bit and see if it recovers. If it's been a few days and it hasn't recovered, just trade it off. Another thing I recommend is you try to keep at least a few items in your inventory. Having one item usually isn't a good thing. It's only good when it's your first item. Otherwise, having multiple is good because you'll be able to avoid the trade hold and complete more trades even when you're going through the trade hold. So I usually try to keep around 3 to 4 items at a time so I can always send trades. It's very hard for me to actually have all 3 or 4 items on hold, and I can make profit much more quickly that way. Also, always be aware of any upcoming holidays or events that might raise the value of some of your items. For example, if you have Halloween themed items around Halloween time, they're probably gonna gain at least a little bit of value that is free profit for you. If Roblox is doing a classic event, trying to get classic items that fit the theme of the event could be a good way to go. If these items have already gone up a lot in price, probably don't go for them, but if you're able to get them early and trade them when they go up, that's the best thing you can do. Any items that are marked as projected are gonna be very difficult to trade, especially with a 2-day trade hold period. So keep in mind, if you have any small items that are projected, probably within those 2 days, they're gonna go back down to the original value. So only trade for projecteds if you know what you're doing, and if you really think you're gonna be able to make profit, even if that item drops a lot. Another thing that I would recommend is to never keep any items that are not for trade. If there's an item that you really like, you can always get it back later, or just move them to your alt account or to a different account, because I feel like it makes it a little bit tricky to have items in your inventory that you're not willing to trade. And honestly, I think it slows you down a lot if you aren't willing to trade certain items. So be willing to trade anything. You can always trade from them back. It's really not that big of a deal. It'll help you a lot in the long run. Honestly, these trading methods don't only apply to people who are just starting in trading. I feel like some of these methods could really work for people at any kinds of value. I find that mass sending is a great way to trade items and get specific items that you're looking for, even if you have hundreds of thousands of Robux. And some of the other principles in this video can help you no matter where you are. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. These are literally all the strategies that I use to go from 0 to 5,000 Robux on my brand new account. So if you guys use them, I think you're probably gonna make a lot of value too. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Peace.